Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me at the back? Can you hear at the back? Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much for being here this evening. I'm going to start by thanking our venue partner, Asilo St. Regis, and has everyone settled down? And Angel Share, our pouring partner for this evening. It's a very special evening, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to repeat the word special many times this evening. Because firstly, Shobha is a dear and very special author and has written this lovely book, which in a way celebrates her 75 years of completely living it up. And we have a very special guest with us. Amir, thank you so much for being here. I think it's safe to say that between them, they've given us years of entertainment, of things to think about, and have really redefined what insatiable means in terms of their craft and their lives. So thank you very much. And please, a big round of applause. We also have the lovely Ira Dubey here, who's going to read portions from the book. And I'm just going to otherwise gush on the entire evening, so I'm going to hand over to Shobha to take the evening forward.
Thank you so much, Paulomi. Never ever thought I would be voiceless. That too on a day like this, where we are launching this book, and I have with me someone I've admired for such a long time. But I'd like to start by saying this evening, it's a tribute to Salman Rushdie because of what he has endured, the fact that he's published his 15th novel. It's called Victory City. He was brutally attacked a few months ago. And this is the power of writing, of storytellers. And the novel is called Victory City, and it's about a fictional woman fighting against a patriarchal system and taking over an entire city and what happens next. Victory City. And the novel ends on this amazing line that words are always the victors. Words are always the victors. We are living in tough times. I don't know that people say it's not the best time to be a writer. I would say it's a very challenging time to be a writer because it also gets the best out of us in an environment that does not encourage free speech. So, Salman Rushdie, for your courage and your bravery, having lost an eye and an arm, struggling to just stay alive, this evening is really a tribute to you. It is said that the currency of storytelling belongs to each one of us, and it cannot be taken away. I'm saying very humbly this evening that a book is only as good as the people who believe in it. And I was so very fortunate. I hope other writers are equally insecure because I am dreadfully insecure all the time. This is my 25th book, and I was so shaken at the thought of having it published. I wasn't even sure anyone would be interested. So when Kanishka Gupta, a big shout out, my literary agent, when I asked him very hesitantly, I said, Kanishka, does anyone care? Does anyone want to read me anymore? I mean, 25th book, a 75-year-old woman talking about her life. Who's interested? And he was so reassuring and so wonderful. I said, will any publisher want to publish this? And he said, ma'am, every publisher will want to publish it. And I thought he was just keeping my spirits up and making me feel good. And I was so very thankful that he made a very good marriage between HarperCollins. It's my first book with HarperCollins. And through HarperCollins, I get to meet two incredibly beautiful ladies. Will you please at least be a little visible? My editor, Trisha, my publisher, Polomy, and they they loved the book. When they loved the book, little bit confidence came back. कि चलो किताब में कुछ होगा, otherwise they wouldn't be publishing it, right? I mean, they wouldn't be excited about it. So the whole process pretty much began with on that note, and with their support and their constant reassurance that, believe me, Shobha, I'm telling you, it's going to be it's a great book. I started believing it myself. So that was the best part. But I have to say that having Amir here, Paulomi said she's going to be using the word special many times. But I have to also say, like the title of the book, Amir is insatiable. Totally insatiable. He's been he's been working since the age of 8. 8, since you were 8, as a child actor. So been in the movie business for over 30 years, given us the most incredible, the most memorable films. And he and I share another thing in common. We both love a four-letter word. It's not what you're thinking. This one starts with an R, and it's called risk. He takes risks. I love risks. And with each movie of his, he has taken incredible risks and succeeded in a way that is spectacular and will always, but always find a place in the film pantheon forever. So, Amir, I'm really grateful. And you were so unstar-like, which of course I know about you. I just had to make one call, and Amir said, if the dates work out, I'll be right there. So thank you very much. And Ira, my darling Ira, who's going to be reading from the book. So I'll just take you quickly through the floor because I feel very embarrassed to read my own words. I want to dig a hole and just jump into the nearest sort of pit because your words sound very different when they're read. And Ira, with her background, she's done theatre studies at Yale. She has an exceptional record. She calls theatre her sacred space and has said it should really be your talent that determines your success and not your looks. Well, in Ira's case, she's doubly blessed because she has both. And now she's hiding. So it's thank you very, very much. And Amir, I thought the right way maybe to do this would be for Ira to kick it off with the reading. So
Yeah.
no, or yes, I think so.
Yeah,
And then we can just go into
Sure,
a
that's a
short
great idea.
conversation
Yeah.
because
perfect.
Ira, why don't you? No, let's get a chair for her right here, or I can go. It's too much. No, how will you stand? No, we need a chair. Yeah, we need a chair. We need a chair. Oh, that's fine. Maybe this is not a fast thing. Maybe comfortable. That's what
Drama with the bus.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ira.
Thank you, Shobha. Thank you for having me. Good evening, Amir. It's so good to be here with you. Good evening, everybody. I managed to get my hands on this very recently. I have been in love and in awe of Shobha for many years, and her family is like family to me. We have been performing a play of hers about the lockdown called Lockdown Liaisons. So when she asked me to do this, it was absolutely a no-brainer. I kept messaging her as I was flipping through the book saying, I'm feeling so emotional and so teary, but I'm also so hungry. I was just constantly hungry. So what I love about this particular book is that, like Shobha herself, who is insatiable, it creates an insatiable appetite for life. And I don't just mean metaphorically, but because it refers to food and your relationship with food and something that is so important to us here in India. So here goes. We'll keep it short and sweet. Just a flavor of insatiable. An archaeologist is the best husband any woman can have. The older she gets, the more interested he is in her. Agatha Christie. From packing for Shimla like we were embarking on an Arctic expedition needing multiple layering, Thermals, coats, scarves, shawls, gloves, woolen socks, Aussie Uggs. It is now all Kanjivaram silks and cotton kaftans for the pilgrimage to seek darshan of Meenakshi Amma in Madurai on the occasion of our wedding anniversary. Mr. Day's planning is in overdrive as he plots with Siddharth Jain, the most adorable and enthusiastic general manager at the Gateway Hotel, Pasumalai, Madurai. With his "Panch bar shadi kiya," there's a collective gasp and a great deal of respect for the octogenarian who is bravely marrying for the 5th time. Mr. Day's abominable language skills have prevented him from explaining that this is the 5th time he's renewing his marriage vows with the same woman, me. We treat ourselves to a heavy Andhra meal at a tiffin house. But we face a major problem: language. Mr. Day resorts to mime and asks for titar, urta chidiya, by flapping his hands wildly. No titar. We're offered what the staff calls dove, pigeon. He wants crab and starts crawling and swimming in the air. No crab. Wild boar? I make him stop the dumber than dumb charades before he starts grunting and points to what's written on the menu in Tamil. We get a mound of rice with mutton curry. A katori of hot ghee is poured over the dish. We eat and eat and eat. The renewal of wedding vows has made us ravenously bhuka. For supper, nothing else. When we stagger back to the hotel, we find that sweetheart Siddharth has totally got carried away and laid out a wedding banquet. He's also decorated the suite with yards and yards of Malipu, the divine jasmine of Madurai. Oh God, Sohag Raat at our age. That too using the same bed on which Namo had relaxed a few months earlier. Perish the thought. Incompatibilities are most attractive. Purity can be deathly dull, tedious and boring. I love hybrid everything. There's so much more richness in people, dogs, cats, food, fashion, dance, movies and music when interesting experiments or accidents create something entirely new and unexpected. Children of mixed marriages are invariably more attractive than the products of safe, controlled procreation. Some of the craziest people I love hanging out with have a mandatory twist in their stories. I love Pushpa's food for this reason. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Pushpa. It is as mixed up as she is. She has still to make up her mind about where she's from. Andhra. She speaks and writes Telugu. Gujarat. She speaks Gujarati and cooks Guju food. Maharashtra. She speaks Marathi and cooks Maharashtrian cuisine. Just as she cannot make up her mind which state of India she belongs to, whatever she produces on the table reflects her identity crisis. If it's indeed a crisis for anyone other than her. I see it as a delightful streak. Her so-called Guju Kadi with whole bhindi often has a Saudi-style tadka to it. Thank God, Pushpa doesn't simplify the curry by adding besan. When she makes Maharashtrian Puran Poli, it's not powdery, flaky and feather light, but heavy, with filling, thick and flavored with nutmeg and not cardamom. Why? Just. And that's Pushpa. Before anybody, this is totally Shobha, this is the bit I love the most. Before anybody asks me about Alia Bhatt's pregnancy and Katrina Kaif's birthday in the Maldives, I just left. I'm not Alia's gynac. How the hell would I know? Please note, I'm not being supercilious or snarky, but I am screwed. No matter what topic comes up at social gatherings, I find myself in a spot. Political opinions are the worst. Women stare at men, clam up. What's she talking about? Why is she bringing politics into everything? Because, you dummies, politics is everything. There is no such thing as being apolitical. Every act of ours, personal and professional, is deeply political. where we live, who we marry, what we eat or don't eat, what we drink or don't drink, what we wear, whom we make friends with, whom we shun, where we worship, what we hold sacred. There are 3 topics women are expected to avoid discussing: sex, politics, humor, even today. I ask myself, what sort of a writer am I? Which category do I fall into? And in any case, what is it that we writers really do? We start with one word, then add one more and one more till a sentence emerges, followed by more sentences, paragraphs, chapters. We spend our lives piling on words. Why make such a big deal out of it? Do our words save lives? No. Possibly, they save us. Just a small glimpse of insatiable, ladies and gentlemen. You want to do the brood? A little bit of the brood? Okay. We have one surprise section left. Before I got married, I had 6 theories about bringing up children. Now, I have 6 children and no theories. John Wilmot, Earl of Rochester. February is such an annoyingly iffy month. It says nothing. It promises nothing. I love January in a childish, narcissistic way. January signals new beginnings. I sing, "Hey, it's my birthday month," to myself, and I feel energized. Stop behaving like an ever-ready battery commercial mother. Calm down, we can't handle it. You're too extra and charged up. The brood frequently reminds me. I start feeling diminished and go fut. Meet the brood. Our secret society of 5. We have our own lingo, codes, abbreviations, nicknames, barbs, insults, put-downs, compliments, prejudices, hang-ups, partialities, slang, and signals. The brood, here they all are, comprises Aditya, Eri, Paddu, Avantika, Avant, Arundhati, Aru85, Anandita, Anna Banana, and me, Motherji. Aditya, after graduating from Boston College, plunged into business. As a 4th generation entrepreneur, he followed his passion for luxury, leisure, and lifestyle by launching India's first membership-only nightclub. Avantika, mother of 3, has been in the media and fashion world for 17 years. Arundhati calls herself a jewelry genie, which is such an evocative and apt description for what she does so brilliantly. My youngest child, Anandita, the Piscean, is the surprise package. She has hidden depths which emerge at the most unexpected moments, catching us all off guard. The brood functions as a collective. Its tumultuous, fraught equation, given how opinionated and outspoken all of us are, we are one another's gurus, therapists, counselors, sounding boards, antidepressants, and occasionally double up as cans of Red Bull. The things we say, the things we think and shamelessly share. Are we really so low down and lethal? Next question. The brood is my strongest support system, my comfiest comfort zone, my personal comedy club, my hot chocolate on a cold night. What can I say? We are in sync and we are at loggerheads. We fight, sulk, snarl, insult, hurt, make up, exit the group, beg to get back on it, miss the non-stop banter when traveling, get mental in places where there's no Wi-Fi. And speaking for myself, it's the only chat group that gives me withdrawal symptoms on long international flights. I'm hopelessly hooked. There, I said it.
Now, I'm going to request my Aryaman, darling, if you've finished tying your laces. I need the little ones, my little grandchildren, to just come up and give a token of appreciation to Amer and to Ira, please. Where are the babies? Ahilya, come, darling. Adiraj, thank you. Aryaman, where is Aisha? Come, darling. Come, 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 come. Come here, Aisha, come. Thank you so much, Ira. That was lovely. Thanks very much. So now we get to the conversation.
Well, Shubha, first of all, I'm so happy to be here. It's such a lovely evening, and what a view this is, yes. Absolutely stunning. So I'm so glad I'm here, and very good evening to everyone here. Shobha, you've written so many books. You're a writer who's so prolific. What is it that really made you write this book, Insatiable? What is it what wanted to come out when you started this?
Amir, actually, it was a state of absolute panic. It was a run up to my 75th birthday. And I felt it was important to mark it in some way, but not in the conventional way and not going back into I was born here and I did, because I had done memoirs to mark my 50th, 60th, 70th. 75th, I don't think, after that we all take it 1 year at a time, right? So 75 is already a good number to mark. And the structure of the book came about differently because I didn't, like I said, I didn't want it to be a conventional biography or a memoir. I thought of doing it as like 12 months, 365 days, 283 pages, and 75 years compressed in the book. And that's how it worked out month by month. It was written almost like a stream of consciousness, like cathartic, like in real time. And each month, whatever I was experiencing, but at the center of it all, because you always need something to hold a book or a narrative together. So I thought deeply about why it should be food and no other element. Food because it connects family, uh, friendship, and food is something we undermine, we take for granted. And at the same time, if you think about it, food, we spend so much of our time thinking about it and eating it and enjoying it. And it is one of life's great pleasures. So it's really, there was food for thought as well. But I didn't want it to be one of those giving gyan type of books. You know, I'm 75, I have all the answers. Because you actually realize at 75, you don't have any answers. You start looking for answers and saying, what the hell have I been doing all these years? So sort of bumbling along and imagining I knew what I was doing. So it is time for introspection. There's time for acknowledging failure, this time to be vulnerable, this time to say, uh, I'm tired of being this other person, which is a construct. And I've been writing without a gap, without a stop. I don't like it.
Hello, check.
Hello.
ये क्यों लगा है हेलो
Can you hear me? You can. Okay. Hello, madam. Come and sit. You missed your daughter's reading, but come and sit. But she did tell me she'd be a little late. Sit with mother. So just to get back to what we
Yeah,
were,
sorry, what were you
saying?
yeah,
So we were talking about how food connects
correct.
in a marvelous and wonderful way, and that acknowledging
Huh.
one's vulnerabilities is not such a bad thing at 75. If not now, then when?
Right.
To say
right.
that I've denied myself the luxury of tears for so long. If not now, then when? And 50 years of writing in the public domain uninterrupted. Now I'm sick of all of that. I just want to be doing what I'm doing, writing what I'm writing, saying what I'm saying, and I'll run with whatever comes.
So can we expect more? Can we expect a more, dare I say it, bolder Shobha now that she's opened up?
Bolder, I mean, I don't know that anyone's ready for bolder, but I had enough of.
Because I don't think you ever held back.
Well,
And that's your amazing quality. The fact
no,
that
I
you're
held
upfront.
back
the
about
fact,
myself.
right, right.
difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So,
So
that's
that
so
was a
that's,
big challenge.
So we're going to see parts of you and sides of you which we haven't seen before in this
Well,
book. Perhaps.
certainly in this book, and there's a lot of family in this book, and I'm really reassured to know they're still talking to me, all of them. So that was my big concern, because you know how it is, and especially when you're talking about children, and they all get competitive, and they all start counting each line and saying, "Oh, she's got much more than I have," and you focused on
The other
him
one.
much more than me,
Right.
and you've forgotten all that I've done.
Right.
Each time we're in the car, I become your DJ, I play your favorite tunes. None of that gets mentioned in the book. So yes, I've dealt with a lot of stuff, still dealing with it, but I really did take a huge chance, and well, I'm glad I did. And so far, they haven't, like I said, they're still talking to me and showing me a lot of love, so it can't be that bad. But it is a very delicate balancing act, I mean, as you
Right.
can imagine.
Yes.
When you're
Especially when you're
discussing-
writing about personal stuff.
Yeah, when you're,
You have to be
yeah.
very sensitive.
And writing about your own family, it is extremely, extremely difficult to do that. And I'd done it many years ago, but it was a bit of a cheat at that time. The children were much younger, and I was counting on them not reading the book at all because they were too young to read, and probably they didn't. And it was letters to my children, which were I still they were sentimental letters, but also truthful letters with. But you know, being upfront about your own life is never easy,
Yeah.
as I'm sure all actors know, because they're always playing a part. But when they're asked to be completely themselves, they wonder, who am I?
Yeah.
You know, so
So tell me, this, did this kind of coincide with when you were at home in COVID? So were these thoughts actually kind of circling in your head at that time?
yes, COVID was an incredibly complex period for all of us. It was cataclysmic for the entire world, and it did strange things to everyone. I don't think any person has come out of COVID saying I'm exactly the same as I was pre-COVID. No one is untouched. It flattened us all. And perhaps for the first time in the history of the universe, every person was equally vulnerable. Not even through wars has that happened. It was that one moment when the entire universe had one single fear. And that has to have changed us. And also the fact that the lockdown forced us to stay within four walls of our homes, not meet colleagues. I mean, my grandchildren, the little one, for example, didn't get a chance to interact with other kids. They didn't go to school. There was, you know, all of that. And adults had their own set of, you know, weird stuff to deal with.
Yeah.
Lots of challenges where you ended up almost wanting to kill one another. And you saw sides to each other which weren't pleasant at all. And then if you lived through all of that, I think you emerged more honest and more upfront even in your relationships. So yes, 100%, there was a lot of introspection during COVID, a lot of time to think about stuff. And I did, in fact, uh, shoot 50 videos back to back as therapy for myself, or I would have gone nuts. And I sang foolish songs at the end of each video. I can't hold a note. I don't know the lyrics. I can't sing. And I started to sing it just for fun, and people started saying, "Oh, you should sing some more," because they were enjoying what an idiot I was making of myself. But it was therapeutic, and I'm glad Anandita was good enough to shoot them every single day. Short videos, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I had to bully her most of the time. She was dealing with her own stuff, right, during COVID. But yeah, I think COVID was a huge.
How do you think it has changed you? In what way?
I think I'm just much more ready to take whatever it is from whosoever it is. I feel I have absolute. I'm naked. I have nothing to lose. I feel I have shown my true colors to all those in my family and those I love. And if they still respond to me and feel positively towards me, then I must have done something right, I guess. But I think just being yourself, it freed me
That's so nice.
incredibly. It just freed me. I mean, it's gave me the kind of courage to own up to so many things which in the past would have been very hard to do it, at least publicly.
Right. So this is in that sense a very important book for you because it's about people who are close to you, and that's really important to you.
That is the only single most important truth to me in my life, as it is, I'm sure, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's nothing beyond that can be bigger or greater.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, I
acceptance
went
from
through a
that, yeah.
similar realization during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of felt that it, COVID made you realize how vulnerable not just you are, but the people around you are. And you get scared for people who are close to who you love. And I think it was in that frame of mind that I started really thinking about the people who are close to me. And then I realized that for my entire adult life, from the age I was 18, I began working as an assistant director. So from then up until now, I've just been, fully focused on films and cinema, and that's been my passion. And I've actually not really been there for people around me. So that was a big change for me. Realization, a self-realization, and I'm really glad it did come at this age and not 20 years later. So I'm using this year to connect with all the people close to me.
I remember what you said to me, which I'd like to share with everyone, when you said you were taking a break. And you're also a very conscious of your commitment as a single parent. You're also very conscious of the fact that your mother needed you and you weren't always around for her because you were busy with your career. You were very conscious of the fact that within your both your marriages, maybe time was what they wanted and you couldn't give it, perhaps. And so this break that you're taking, a lot of actors would not dream of taking a career break of this kind, but it's very, very courageous of you to do it.
But my actor friends make fun of me. They're like, you were always on a break. What are you talking about? तू फिल्म में काम करता है जो तू अब break पे है. So,
Well,
but you see, the difference is that now my mind is on people. Earlier, my mind was on films. Was So that's been a big difference for me. Tell me, is it like nerve-wracking, waiting for the response of people who've read your earlier books and at this stage, is it really nerve-wracking? You said you were nervous.
No, I'm only nervous when the process is on. After that, I honestly think of the book. Maybe I'm romanticizing it a bit too much, but once it's published, and I loved how the design team has.
Yeah, they've done a wonderful
They've
job.
done a beautiful,
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah,
job
yeah,
of the design. So, Paulamy, Trisha, your design team, they're busy having a drink. I don't want to interrupt them. Drinks are
Yeah, it's a
important.
really lovely design.
Yeah, so no, once it's out there, Amir, it's like, those happiness lanterns or those in Thailand, those wish lanterns.
Yeah.
You leave them. So you leave it and you keep following the lantern till it's just a tiny little speck of gold in the sky. And you keep wishing and then it disappears and it's in space and you disconnect. And then it's no longer yours. So I feel that way about the book. It's great to see it at airports. It's great to see it with people. But it's not that I'm paralyzed at all by reactions
Right.
or I'm preoccupied with how it will be reviewed. And perhaps for the first time in my acting career, acting, whoops, writing
Writing
career,
career, yeah.
writing career, Lilette, I took your line. Uh, I have received the most incredibly warm reviews,
Wow.
and I can say why, Amir. They're not from my contemporaries.
Oh.
Loaded response.
Oh. No, I didn't get it.
Contemporaries will never ever say anything wonderful about
Oh, okay.
you. Never. I mean,
That's
the
sad.
first few reviews were so devastating. I should have crawled into a little hole and never gotten
Oh
out.
no, okay.
Today it's young India, and young
That's
India
right.
is much more accepting, much more open. They don't come with any preconceived ideas.
Sure.
They're not judging you. They look at the book and they couldn't care less. They like it or they don't like it. They don't care who's written it, uska aage piche kya tha, none of that. That's how they look at movies as well. That's how they respond to music and
Sure.
and everything. So I'm very glad that I managed to impress young India. That's for me a huge, huge big plus.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tell me what is the in the book, what is your favorite part in the book? What is the one maybe incident or one thing that really moves you the most or is closest to your heart?
Well, the book started off as the working title for the book was Searching for Anuradha, which
Oh.
is my birth name.
Oh.
So, so Anuradha was, it began as a quest. So where is that little Maharashtrian girl? What
Right,
happened to
right,
her?
Right.
And then
You
somewhere
were
along
born in Mumbai?
in Satara.
You were born in Satara.
Yeah. When my
Wow.
father was a district judge there.
Right.
And I was, that birth name was Anuradha based on my nakshatra. Now the nakshatra is the 17th in the hierarchy of nakshatras. And the emotions or attributes connected to Anuradha, the nakshatra, are fragility.
Oh.
Fragility.
Right.
So maybe my inner fragility is all emerging. Finally,
Right.
I have found Anuradha, is what I'm thinking at the end of the book.
Wow.
Seriously, because I'm still looking.
Yeah.
But it ends with my saying that finally Anuradha is where she wants to be. This is the last line of the book. So that little Maharashtrian girl, and I said it earlier, it's worth repeating, that I can almost hear my parents, wherever they may be, chuckling at this woman, this person sitting here, and saying, maybe in Marathi, of course, to me, की काय समजतेस तू स्वतःला काय तू इतकी हाय फाय शोभाडे आहेस का असं काही नाही तू अनुराधाच आहे आणि अनुराधाच राहशील which is in a way so reassuring.
I know what you mean. I know
So
what you mean.
reassuring because it's back to roots, it's back to knowing. But I never did forget Anuradha. The little Maharashtrian girl was always there. So if my parents were to say, की तू इथे तिथे जाऊन फुआग्रा खाशील आणि काय खाशील, पण भाकरी येऊन रात्री खाणार की नाही? It's a fact. It is that bhakri which I still eat every night. It is that bhakri which sustained me. And it's the bhakri which I value the most.
You know, tell me a bit about your childhood. How many years did you live in Satara? How long were you there?
No, just 2 years when my
2
father
years.
was transferred to the Ministry of Law Central in Delhi. So formative years were very Delhi. And I liked it better as a child than I do now. I avoid Delhi at all costs. But back then I enjoyed it because Delhi had seasons, Amir, which
Right.
we don't in Mumbai. We have hot and we have wet.
Well, now it's getting cool. Nowadays it's quite chilly. Yeah?
And
I'm
the
a
pollution
strong Mumbaiite. I always say, यार December में अच्छा chill हो जाता है.
5 दिन के लिए. But we love that.
Yeah. So, tell me, how? I mean, amongst all the books that you've written now, when you look back at your work, how do you look at it? Do you compare one book with the other? How do you feel about the work that you've previously done?
I like some of it. I hate some of it. I'm embarrassed by some of it. That's the truthful answer. Some I feel, yeah, okay, I really like what I said then. That's if I ever go back. I'm not one for looking back. I, I'm very much a creature of the moment.
Right.
And I'm not even saying I look ahead. To me, it's the here and now. Right now, I'm here with you. We're talking
Correct.
about this book, and this has value for me. So the old books, well, it's like saying, uh, I don't know. You can learn a lot from your old books, but what more do I need to learn at this stage, which will somehow make me into a Nobel laureate? It's never going to happen, right? These are my books. I'm proud of all of them.
That's
I
right.
love them.
That's
But it's like asking who's your favorite child kind of a thing. It's a
Correct.
trick question. So even if you have a favorite child, you're never going to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I asked you this because I want to know what I should answer when I'm asked this question. I'm always asked, which is your favorite film? I have no idea. So I said, let me
You
try
have
it
to
on
say
you.
happy batao because your films are watched by millions and millions. You turn it around and say, which is yours? That's mine also.
You've had such a colorful life, such an amazing life, with so vibrant and so full of experiences. Uh, uh, how much of that we'll get to see in this book?
Amir, read it.
Uh,
A lot,
Okay.
I promise you.
no, I'm planning to read it. I'm going to start on my way back in the car. Yeah, I
I
promise
knew
you.
it.
Yeah,
I
no,
knew
I've
he
been
was going
looking
to
forward
wing
to
it,
that.
but he had told me. He's really, I mean, I honestly think it's not because I'm here to sell my book at all, but it's a great book. I said it.
No, I'm sure it is.
I love it.
I'm sure it is.
I really enjoyed writing it, and I think that comes through because it's very layered. It's not. I mean, there are a lot of young, earnest reporters who come and ask me, so madam ये ऐसे खाने वाली किताब है, तो इसमें recipes भी बहुत सारे होंगे, so और खाना पकाना कैसे and all of it. So I have to keep specifying that it's not a food book.
It's not a cookbook. Huh?
It's not a cookbook. There are no recipes. Maybe recipes for life, perhaps, but not even those in a conventional sense. It's really a book that's celebratory in tone. It celebrates experiences, sounds, smells, music, art, poetry, as I experience it in that 1 year.
Right.
And food is at the center of it all. I mean, there's eccentric food, you know, like crazy food. When I was in Kerala, a lady asked me, she said, "Madam, you have recommended banana chips, crushing banana chips, and having them on Hakka noodles." I said, "It's actually try it." Because I mean, unless we experiment with
Yeah,
food, why should we be straight-laced? Why should we be purists?
Yeah.
Why should we have food critics telling us how we should eat? I mean, there's no such thing as the ultimate Bible of food. We have our own palates. Why shouldn't we trust our own palate,
Sure.
our own taste buds? So I like doing, pagalpan with food.
What is
mixing
your
up
favorite
stuff.
cuisine?
Japanese, because
Oh, Japanese.
it's very subtle and it's also quite close to Maharashtra
Yeah.
in its own
Yeah?
crazy mad
Is
way.
it?
Fish, rice.
No.
Of course, just
No,
because
the
Maharashtrians don't
ingredients
have
may be
sushi.
fish and rice, but
Just because we don't have sushi.
whenever I'm
Fish and rice.
yeah,
And subtle. And not masala. And not,
not cooked.
overcooked.
It's not cooked much.
It's steamed.
Yeah.
And there is a certain refinement like
yeah.
we Maharashtrians have. So it's.
I have to say I'm hardcore Indian food eater. So Japanese cuisine, I have to keep checking.
ये खाना है?
नहीं, ये पका है ना खाना, it's cooked. Because I can't eat. I find it difficult to eat raw. Yeah.
Raw.
Yeah.
No, I avoid the raw, but
So
I
within
like
India,
some.
what is your favorite cuisine?
The Bengali for sure.
Ah.
Not only because I'm married to a Bengali, but also because of that. I'm exposed to it day in and day out. Every day of my life, we're eating Bengali cuisine.
Right.
But it's also the sophistication of the cuisine, the completely richness of even everyday dishes. It's not a simple cuisine. I mean, they get hysterical over how vegetables are cut, for example. There can be major fights if the vegetable is cut wrong.
It's cut wrong.
Then
No,
I've
it's a very
been
refined form of cooking.
very refined.
Yeah.
I've
Actually,
also,
as is a lot of regional cuisines in India.
But more so the
Over the
Bengalis.
years.
I mean, I've never been to another Indian home for a dinner where the first 20 minutes are devoted to discussing the beauty of a dead fish, topshe mach. 20 minutes of how absolutely exquisite it is to look at. Its scales, its expression, its presentation. 20 minutes, and I'm saying, when are we going to eat? So, yeah, I think the Bengalis have taken food and the appreciation of food to new and wonderful levels, and I hand it to them for sure. And Lucknowi cuisine, of course, which is again extremely rich and wonderful.
You had some of that
nuanced.
at my house. I think my
That's
mom.
absolutely right. It's in the book, Amir.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
when you read.
okay.
So actually, Ira had asked me, and Anandita had suggested we must read the Amir part.
Oh,
No, that time you didn't know he hadn't read the book.
yeah. Well, tell me, is there a pattern to your writing? For example, now this is non-fiction.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that you have a clear thought of what has transpired, and you're writing about what has happened. But when you're writing fiction, then like, do you sit every day from a particular time to a particular time? Like, do you write every day, or do you take off for a month and write? And how do you work? What is the manner in which you work?
Amir, I'm writing even when I'm not writing, if you know what I mean.
Ah,
I'm never not writing. I'm writing even in my sleep. When
it's
I'm
going on in
eating,
your head, huh?
It's non-stop. I mean, till I feel like ideas and characters are exploding out of my head and I have to sort of wind down somehow. So I do write every single day of my life for,
Every day.
yeah, and between
That's
1,000 to
amazing.
2,000 words
That's-
every single day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a discipline. It's like a singer saying, I will not do riyaz because I'm not performing.
Correct.
The more you write, the more muscular your prose becomes, and it's a discipline. So for fiction, the character has to come up to me and say, write about me.
Yeah.
That unless I hear that voice and I see the character, I don't start a book of fiction. I need to know that person in some kind of strange way. There has to be a connect. It could be someone I've seen at an airport who has intrigued me,
Right.
but I don't know anything about that person's life.
But it
But
provoked thoughts in
it's
you.
provoked a whole character, and the backstory all follows. And like they said in the paying tribute to Salman Rushdie, that storytelling is really the currency all of us have,
That's true.
and we should never let go of that.
That's true.
And every single person in this room has a story to tell too, if they choose to tell it.
Sure.
And I'm paid to tell it. That's the only difference.
I had met a writer. One of my favorite writers is an American writer called Harry Cruz. He's not. I don't know whether how many people know about him, but I've been a big fan. So I wrote to him and I went to meet him and I asked him the same question. I said, how do you write? What is your? So he said, I wake up every day at 3 o'clock in the morning and I write from 4 to 8. And then at 8 I stop writing. And every day I write from 4 to 8, and through the day, even if I get ideas, I jot them down just to remember, but I don't write. I force myself to write only in those 4 hours, and that's when I get most productive. And I found that very interesting. He said even if ideas are not coming, I write, and then I throw it away, but I write. It's like a discipline.
I don't throw anything away at all because it's too precious and it costs. But I do jot down ideas, and I have my reliable notepads and cheap ballpoint pens. I never leave home without them. There are 2 in the car right as we speak.
Yeah.
So ideas keep coming. There's no limit to our imagination.
Yeah.
That's what makes us, human beings. The limit is what we impose on ourselves, on our own imagination. So if you encourage imagination, then it flows like the Brahmaputra. It can keep flowing. But if you put a dam on it, then the river gets diverted and it goes off into directions which are wasteful.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I like to be very, very focused in my energy
And
when
flowing.
I'm writing. And the flow. When the flow is on, it's not that I ignore everybody else. I'm already writing, but they don't know I'm writing. So I'm good at faking it. I'm paying attention, but actually I'm writing in my head.
Is there anything in fiction that you're planning that we can expect?
Well, I don't know if Trisha and Paulomi are going to give me another commission for another book. She's saying yes, quite happily. So if that happens, then but yes, but right now I think my energies, Amir, are on going to Brazil and Argentina with Mr. Day. It was something it was on my bucket list 100 years ago.
Wow.
I'd mentioned it in an earlier book, I think when I turned 50. It's finally happening now at 75.
How nice.
And I have to also say that I had mentioned then, and I mention it again, that I want to dance the tango. It takes two. He doesn't dance. So I said with a ponytailed stranger in a public square in Buenos Aires. And he says, yes, it'll be done. So I said the
No, but you
least
can learn the tango.
No, it's very tough.
No, you can learn the tango.
Very tough. Yes, he's also lessons have been booked. Lessons have been booked, but my requirement was very modest and very realistic. I said, please get Javier Bardem or Antonio Banderas at the very least, waiting in the public square, and then we are on. So I think we have exhausted. You must be exhausted.
No, I'm fine. Anybody has any questions for Shobha?
5 questions, and then, ladies, we have a surprise.
First memory of Amir as well.
But let me add to that.
Yes.
But when I did finally meet her, I found her really warm and very intelligent, very sharp, and someone who I really enjoyed having a conversation with. I think the few times that we've met, I've really connected. Yeah.
That's incredible. I also love what you said about gossip, that people every time, because I'm in the same industry, all they want to know is me some Bollywood gossip, and I know that's exhausting, but I'd love to know what your first memory of Amir was.
You know, I'm having my senior citizen moment. You'll excuse me for not remembering and COVID brain fog to add to it. But it must have been at an event. No, of course I remember. Oh my God, I remember. It was for Cancer Patients Aid Association. We were invited, no, it was the Saprus. They used to run CPAA, and we were addressing. It's a very funny story. If you don't mind my recounting it, we were on the same flight. It was a long time ago, and this was in Bangalore. We landed, and you were with Reena, your first wife. And both of you were identically dressed in blue jeans, a white T-shirt,
Right, and a cap or something.
and caps.
Ah.
And it was difficult to tell. You kind of looked similar because these people hadn't met you earlier, ever.
Right.
And so
So they were wondering who's Amir and who's Reena.
yes, and yes, indeed.
Oh.
And they asked you,
Huh.
Bhabhi ji nahi aayi.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And how well both of you handled it.
What did I say? I must have said that's Bobby G. I mean, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, straight. You
yeah.
just said straight up. I mean, Bhabhi ji is right here.
Huh.
And the event went off fabulously well because both of you were so sincere and so well spoken, polite, no
Right.
fuss, nothing.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, I wanted to dig a hole and jump in when they said, Bhabhi ji nahi aayi. That was my first memory. You both looked
Thank you
great,
for sharing
wonderful.
that, and congratulations on the book. Thank you.
Can you just pass the mic right behind you? Yeah.
Is this on? Yeah. Hi. It's a pleasure to see one of the most easiest conversations on the stage. Shobha, I have a question for you. When you were writing and organizing a magazine, and the transition from that kind of writing to full novels, when did you start feeling the yearn that you could handle a full-fledged novel? Because that's a different thing. Did you have a good writing skills in school too?
Lady, I'd like to believe that my writing skills were not too bad, and I was reasonably competent to get a job at 23 editing 3 magazines as founder editor. So
Yeah.
the writing skills I believe were not too shabby. But the first book was commissioned. All the books have been commissioned. So I don't have a hard luck story as a
No, I think what she's
struggling
asking
writer.
is how different was it from writing
No,
from
that
short
to me-
form to long form?
No,
That's what you're asking.
Yes,
like to a
I know.
novel, yeah.
No, I don't. Thanks for the clarification. To me, I have not created those kind of categories in my mind.
I see.
I write 4 columns a week. I tweet.
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram. I write my novels. I write fiction. I write non-fiction. I blog. I write freelance articles. to me, writing is really writing. You know, I don't make I don't
So
put
you
it into
didn't have a
grids.
transition. You just
It was
took it on.
natural for
It
you,
was
yeah.
very natural
Natural
for
for you.
me, and it's remained natural because had the book not been a commissioned book, I may never ever have written a novel at all. But once I did start, I enjoyed it, and
Yeah.
it was easy. It was
Right,
not.
right,
It was
right.
no big deal.
Yeah.
It was just something I loved doing, and it was effortless, and gave me a great deal of happiness doing it.
Okay, Amir, a question for you. If you were to make a biopic on Shobha, who amongst the current crop of actors would you choose to play her?
Oh, I think a number of them would do pretty well. I think Deepika would do it would be well cast for it. Priyanka would be well cast for it, and I mean there would be let's say Alia. Yeah, just off the top of my head.
All
What do you
three
think?
incredibly talented. Uh,
And
Alia,
strong personalities.
very
Because
much
that's,
so, but you've forgotten one,
tell me,
Kangana.
Kangana. Yeah, she would do it well as well. Kangana would do it well. Yeah.
I think she's got the little craziness
Well, she's
needed.
a strong actor. Yeah.
She's a superb actor, and I think I watched her doing Jaya Lalita as Amma.
Right.
The
right.
transformation was something incredible.
No, she's a very good actor. I mean,
She's very,
she
very
can
good.
do almost.
Yeah.
She's
She
she's
can do
very
anything.
versatile. That's what was the word I was looking for. Yeah. She does comedy well. She does drama well. Yeah.
Do we have
Thanks.
any more questions?
Now we're going to have a wonderful little moment. A surprise.
Yeah, so we have a wonderful cake from Rashmi Uday Singh, and the folks at St. Regis have just killed it. You must look at it. Rev, could you please
So
bring out
deeply
the...
touched.
Rev
So
is
deeply
a magician at Asilo, by the way. You've got to look at it because it's amazing.
I think I think no, darling.
Guys,
Now the bar is open and snacks are happening, so please stay on and let's have a lovely evening together. Thank you all for coming.
Also, guys, thank you everyone for coming. We also have lots of copies of Shobha's wonderful book, so please pick up a copy and Shobha will happily sign them.